And another big thing that's just we've been working on it and it's just ready to just really get some wheels to it, is the Smoky Mountain Sports Complex, which could really help with that north end also. It's exciting to us. It's a joint venture between us and the county. And would you please tell us about that?
And the only way that I really know to describe this, and I think many people know, I just kind of lay it out there, is that that some of us continue to talk about, wow, wouldn't that be great if we, Gatlinburg, could do a sports complex? And every time we would have that discussion, we would say, but where in the world could we do that? Okay.
Challenged by the terrain, obviously.
Totally, totally. Hemmed in by the park on three sides, mountains everywhere. We're so blessed by God to have all that, but then when it comes time to look at something of this nature, there's no but to being blessed by God, by the way. Let me be real clear. I know that there is no but to that or however to that, but we then continue to say, wow, wouldn't that be great, but where we nosed around a couple of places and those didn't really come to be. And then there were some folks that came up with the idea that is going to become a reality, is becoming a reality, and that is to utilize existing facilities of the city, i.e. the community center in Mills Park, and to utilize existing facilities at Gatlinburg Pittman High School, and then for the purchase of a couple of pretty sizable parcels contiguous in front of those facilities, and to utilize existing city and county school system facilities, and then buy up some additional property. And so that's what we're doing. That's where we're headed. And as I have told so many people, the only way, number one, I told you all my bosses, and I said the only reason we can talk about doing this now that we found a way to physically do it, is that this building will be paid off. The debt on this building will be retired in 2018. And because of that is the number one reason that we can discuss funding another $20 million project. This original building that we're in right now, which is what I call it because I don't really know what else to call it, was $20 million, okay? Right. And then the redo of Mills Conference Center, I think, was $18 million, you know. And so this is the debt I'm speaking of that gets paid off in 2018, and therefore frees up the money that's needed to service another $20 million of debt. So because of that, that's why we could have a sound, responsible financial discussion about it. And then the other factor was that there were two things that enabled this. That I just described, and secondly, somebody else participating with us. Right. And the obvious go-to entity being Sevier County. And so those two things have come together.
And I think it's important too that the type of relationship we have with them is the same type of relationship they had with Sevierville and the Smoky Stadium.
Absolutely.
And it was great for Sevierville, and this is going to be great for Gatlinburg, plus the rest of the county.
Absolutely.
It definitely will help the school system.
And we might want to describe the project, and here again I'm sure Kevin can show something while we're at this point in the game, to talk about what all is going to be there. But generally the project will end up with, and you need to eight soccer.
Synthetic turf, soccer / football / rugby, long fields they call them, that is in this to attract this AAU market, this AAU business. A building, standalone building that will have 5 basketball courts side by side, which we have 2 at the community center, a new one that's under construction right now, plus the old gym at the high school, leaving us 9 basketball courts in one location, which is huge. And I guess one of the reasons I'm so fired up about this is because a couple of my kids have followed this AAU market. And Mickey, for example, in soccer, and you would travel somewhere, you'd have a game in the morning, you'd have nothing to do in between, you'd have a game later that afternoon, and you'd come in on a Friday night, then Saturday you'd have 2 games, and Sunday maybe a championship game. Basketball, Mickey did that, Albert did that. So I knew, you know, had experienced it and knew how this, exactly, and how this market, even through the recession, didn't drop. It kept just, you know, climbing, and I think where parents a lot of times know this is something that is an opportunity, because that's where a lot of these college scouts will look at this AAU market, that with the economy, maybe my child will, you know, qualify for a scholarship, an athletic scholarship. But there's so much to do in Gatlinburg. That's what this group out of Florida we've met with and talked to, SFA. They said this is such a home run because there's so much to do here.
We already have the infrastructure as it relates to the hotels and the cabins and the motels and the lodging and the restaurants and the attractions. And like you said earlier, and I think it's important to always say this, is that yeah, it's a whole lot about us, or we wouldn't be investing. You know, the deal is that the city's doing $14 million and the county's doing $6 million. And of course, there are a couple of extra costs, the land purchase mainly, but that it is good for the whole county.
Yes.
But to come speak back out of this side of my mouth, which is always my prominent as it relates to being about Gatlinburg, is that we have so rare opportunities to do major economic development projects, which is why we did the aquarium deal that I'm sure some folks, you know, not everybody, it was amazing how many people did embrace it, which is why we could do what we did. I'm sure there's some that didn't, but the rare opportunity to put in that context a $60 million private investment, kind of sort of in the center of town, on 4 acres. You know, that's the kind of land space we have. Right. And now here we are going to buy 10 acres as part of this sports complex, another 7 on the other side of the road into all these facilities. Of course, it'll move. So it's just it's rare for us to be able to carve out enough property for public-private development to occur. And we're so much about redevelopment, which is great, and there has been a lot in our downtown. But anyway, it's just a rare opportunity to be able to build this building, to fit this building into this relatively small footprint. You know, again, because of how unique our town is with the topography and the park and all those great things. So, you know, it's just a rare opportunity, and you have to try to you have to make these things happen if you want to continue to grow and do the things that I think our town wants to do and be about. Absolutely. And I really commend you for your leadership on this sports complex project, because that's what it takes in order to do, just as there, you know, I can name names of who was instrumental in the leadership roles of this facility and the aquarium. And you know, you just have to go out there sometimes, and I don't want to imply at all major risk taking, because I'm way too conservative, and you know that.
Right.
So I just think it's a great opportunity. I don't have the firsthand experience. I have a little bit of it with the granddaughter that's done some AAU activity. I just know that I've read and heard, and even our state tourism commissioner, I have talked to her, Susan Whitaker, about it, and her comment was that sports tourism is the up and coming and is the recession-proof kind of industry that the whole state needs to be about. So she's very excited about what we're doing here and very supportive of it too.
A couple of things that just come to mind. I think it was very important we had a unanimous vote from our city council to proceed forward. And then we had a unanimous vote from county commission, which shocked me because I was told all along there'd be some that just wouldn't vote for it. And I thought that was a real positive shot in the arm and just a vote of confidence for what we were doing. And it's like, I think anything else that we've done, you know, we want to take our time, we want to test the waters, we want to get input. We had several workshops, but how things just fell into place.
Right.
Purchase of the land, with being able to me it was just a brainstorm to have it at the high school property, because you've already got 4 fields, you've got a stadium around one, you've got a stadium on another one, lights on 2, 3 fields. It's great, and we're extremely excited about it, and just to bring in new business.
Yes. And
people come here and have a great time and then say, well, we'll come back as a vacation.
Right, and that is the other, these will be facilities that certainly local programs can use. It's not going to not be that.
Right.
However, it is primarily about, as I've said, economic development. It's about the old cliche, putting heads in beds, people in these restaurants, people in these shops, and that's what it's really about. And the beauty of it is that, as you know from your own experience, so much of that occurs during non-school time frame.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It occurs on the weekends.
And through the summer.
Right.
Yeah.
And even during holidays, I guess, is what I've heard a little bit about too. But so it's going to be something that certainly the local community can enjoy and experience. But again, it is about economic development and economic growth, and hopefully having a major impact on that Highway 321 corridor.
Good point.
And some much needed, I mentioned the north end where there's a whole lot of needed redevelopment and/or new development in the 321 corridor.
Absolutely.